How are you doing?
Fantastic. We've been in Nashville for 5 days. We're actually rehearsing up in Nashville for Winter Jam and for our Christmas tour, which is coming up.
Yeah,
So we've been busy. We've between writing songs and recording them and rehearsals and stuff. It's kind of the busy season for us. So
that's awesome, man.
yeah.
Yeah, I saw you got the Christmas tour coming up, man. It's weird that we're talking about Winter Jam already, but I want to talk about the Christmas tour because I tonight I'm going to my third Christmas movie of the season already, which is weird.
Wow. Wow.
And
That's impressive.
I know, yeah. It's crazy that we're already talking about Christmas, but man, your Christmas tour, man. It's the Very Merry Christmas tour. You're going out with Kathy Nicole and Micah Tyler. You're going out here in a couple weeks, for about 2, 3 weeks in December. Um, how excited are you to just get Christmas going and get it going early?
Well, it's always this is always a fun season for us because our favorite thing, we love Winter Jam. It's fantastic. We love that. There's just an energy and a synergy with Winter Jam that can't be matched. But
Yeah,
Christmas is a lot more intimate. We play smaller theaters and churches, and we play, which is what we are more comfortable doing anyway. It's a lot more intimate and personal, and so I've got a lot more time. And we were out on that. We've done some dates with Micah Tyler. We love him. We love his music and art. And Katie Nicole was actually on Winter Jam with us last year, and we're like, okay, she's like a bundle of wild kittens, so let's have her on Christmas tour because, and she's just a great singer and a great minister. We love what God's doing with her life, so we asked her to come out on tour with us, and sure enough, that's how the Christmas tour kind of came to be. But as you know, when you have a song like the Christmas Shoes, it's like Arise My Love. If you have a song like Arise My Love, you're going to play Easter somewhere. And
right.
if you're blessed with a song like the Christmas Shoes, you're going to do some Christmas touring. You're just going to do that. So
Yeah.
that's uh, so we always go, okay, let's. And even though we've done this for years, we always go in and we're adding songs, we're moving things around, we're constantly trying to make it better and fix things that were like, that was good last year, but what if we did this? And so that kind of keeps it alive and vibrant. And also, we go to some of the same places that's become traditional for us, but we also on Christmas, I mean, but we also go to some new markets and new places and make new friends. And it's always fun to do the Christmas tour in front of a brand new audience who's never seen anything that we've done for Christmas. So it's going to be a really good night. It's going to be a really good tour. And we work real hard. It kicks off, and then before you know it, it's over.
Yeah.
And the focus becomes Winter Jam. And I don't know if you know this, but years ago, about the time we started Winter Jam, we started a group of youth conferences called Extreme Conferences in
Oh,
Gatlinburg
that's
City
you
and
guys. Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
Branson, Missouri. So we'll go home for Christmas a few days, and then we will head to Gatlinburg, Tennessee, and then Branson, Missouri.
Hmm.
We've got a bunch of other artists with us on that tour. And I think Ann Wilson's doing that with us, Zach Williams. I don't know. It's just going to be insane. So we'll do that for a week and then go home and repack, and we're back out on the road. So
You talked about how you guys are already rehearsing for Winter Jam. It's crazy. I feel like Winter Jam just ended and the announcement's already out for next year. I love talking to you, like you and Eddie, the guys from NewSong, because this is your tour. We can talk about Winter Jam in a little bit different way than I would with John and KB and Andy and all these guys. Like, because you guys are behind the scenes. Like, how soon after Winter Jam ends do you guys start working on the next year?
well, we actually start working on the next year before Winter Jam ends. Because before Winter Jam ends, we have to secure all of the concert locations. We already got to already be talking to artists and formulating kind of a lineup because we always start with we may start with a lineup for this year and we also have a list. So we're like, okay, these are folks that we've had or that folks really love. They want us to have them back. And as you know, we always poll our attendees and we always ask people, hey, what would you like to see at Winter Jam? What did you enjoy about it? Because we may go, hey, we've had Skillet 4 times on Winter Jam. Well, yeah, we have, but that means that people have maybe seen them 4 times in their lives. So, it's and it's
Mhm.
different every time. So, because we're always all writing songs and recording and doing things, and people want to hear the classics, but they also, it's fun to, because that's the big difference between us and say, a Billy Joel or, a secular artist, John Mayer or whatever. Our songs are written from a very spiritual perspective. So, if we're praying and we're pressing in and we're getting them fresh and we're recording them, we feel like the Lord has something new He wants us to say, and so that gives us a lot more motivation to get out there and add songs and
Mhm.
do songs that really minister to us, and we've heard good feedback from, and so it's this thing that it's a living. Winter Jam is this living organism that's always morphing into something. It's always, we're always working on things, and it has many moving parts. And even though the tour itself stops moving for a few months, the planning, the behind the scenes stuff, that never stops moving.
So what are a couple things that you guys look at when it comes to who you want to have on the tour? Like a lot of times it'll line up with like Skillet's got the new record out. So it seems like when they do Winter Jam, they've got a new record out or coming out. Is that something you look at like so and so's got some new music that may be releasing around that time? Let's look at them. And then these artists are really blowing up right now. Let's look at them. And these guys have a lot of like ministry driven music. So let's look. What are a couple things you guys really
Sure.
look at when it comes to bringing people on?
Well, there's lots of things. It may be, someone who's really popping on Christian radio and who's really relating to people and who
Mhm.
folks are really enjoying, and they've got something to say and they're saying it really well. A lot of it has to do now, honestly, with their social media presence and who it
Oh
is that. Because some of the artists that we've had, they may not, but like Lecrae, for instance, he's not on Christian radio. KB's not on Christian
yeah.
radio, really, but
Right.
those are hugely popular. They have a huge
Yeah.
following, and
Yes.
we call it traction. They have great traction with their
Yeah.
audience. So, and plus they're great live. We enjoy having them. They're great to work with. So we have we have an ever expanding, ever growing list of artists. I'll never forget 2009. We had Toby Mac. He came out on Winter Jam. He had been on Winter Jam a couple of times, but he came out on Winter Jam. And at the end of the tour, he goes, "I love this so much, and I love the heart of it. I love what you guys are doing. I hate to tell you this, but I think I'm going to do it myself. I want to do a tour like this because there's plenty of room for all of it. You know what I mean?" And
Yeah.
so Toby goes off and does the Hits Deep tour,
Yeah.
and we kind of we support him in doing that. We're like, okay, yeah, I mean, more Christian music and more markets and more, so we have to look at all of those things as we're planning their schedule, because you have to think about your production
Hmm.
and your needs there, and you have to plan that, your staging, and that's a lot of times determined by your artist.
Yeah.
uh, think about your transportation. You have to think about catering because you're feeding 150 people 3 times a day. You
Yeah.
have you have to think about a lot of things, and it's amazing because like we'll have an artist. I'll never forget, we had Francesca Battistelli a few
Oh
years
yeah.
ago, and she had just come out as an artist, and we just loved her. She was just great. We're like, man, people need to hear this. And while she's on Winter Jam, not because of Winter Jam, but she's on Winter Jam and her songs start exploding. So she
Hmm.
becomes, so we've got her early in the night on Winter Jam, a lights up artist. She's a new artist. We got her early in the night, and the next thing we know, she's a main stage artist because
Yeah.
so and people got to hear Winter Jam really, one of the first places they get to hear her. So we love that. That's happened with her and for King and Country and Chris August, and the list goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
So we love introducing new artists to our audience. And but we also love having the artists out that we know really connect and really have something to say. Because as you know, content is very important to us. We share the gospel every night on Winter Jam. We stop the music and we have someone, a gifted, called, anointed speaker, share the message of the gospel and give people at Winter Jam the opportunity to respond to that message. Because
Mhm.
the world we live in, we all know it's kind of crazy. We have no
You
idea.
don't say.
Yeah, right. So we have no idea what tomorrow holds, but we know we have this moment.
Yeah.
So why not in this moment? Let's talk about the things that are important, and your relationship with the Lord is the most important thing. So that becomes the heartbeat of Winter Jam. That really is the heartbeat of Winter Jam, and everything else is just beautiful dressing. You know, when you start adding these amazing artists like Colton Dixon and Skillet and Micah, who's doing Christmas, is going to be on Winter Jam too, so that's
Yep.
exciting. Really, we've had him for a night or two. He filled in for some artists that had prior obligations, you know, which is another reason we have to decide who's going to be out early, start
Right.
them early, because you know a lot of artists book even a year in advance. So
Hmm.
we that's another reason we have to work on early. But we've had Micah do a night or two on Winter Jam, and in times past he came in and filled in for us, and we were like, wow, this guy's great. We should have him back. So when his schedule and our schedule lines up, then we do it. You know what I mean? So
Right.
it's amazing. And then we get the tour together, and the night happens, and we're like, wow, it really doesn't feel like Ann Wilson and Skillet go together. And then you put the night together and you're like, this is a great night. It all
Yeah.
goes, it all, it all fits and it finds its place. So,
I love it. Yeah, and I mean, seeing the amount of production that some of these artists are able to do on Winter Jam is just insane. I know John Cooper is a big fan of the arena rock from the 80s, and he always says, Winter Jam, I get to be one of those bands. You know, he gets so
oh, yeah.
excited. One thing I love about Winter Jam the most, though, is like you're 24 years into Winter Jam, and the ministry side of it is still a huge part of it, which honestly you don't see that a lot with a lot of Christian tours don't necessarily focus on the ministry side of it as much anymore as they used to. But Winter Jam makes a huge point of doing that. And it is a ministry, not just a tour and a business. How
Well,
proud are you guys of the fact that you guys have been able to keep the ministry side of it so prominent and so, so much of a focus?
well, we feel like that's two words come to mind. That's being obedient to what we're called to do as a group, because it's always this heartbeat of NewSong. And so it spills over into Winter Jam. But also, we're not just being obedient, but we're very intentional about that. As you know, Winter Jam is we want everybody to come. We want everybody to get in who can. It's a donation at the door, and then we take a love offering. If folks are like, man, it costs more to park outside than it costs to get into Winter Jam. So, and a night like this, and it's been amazing, and we want to be a part of it. And so we give people the opportunity to give in the offering, but you don't have to give in the offering, and you don't have to get. So, as much as we know that this model of touring is not practical if you look at this, you're like, no, you
It's
know,
crazy.
you don't have to charge $1,200 a ticket, but you need to charge something because you got unbelievable expenses every night, and they're constantly increasing. Uh, but we always go, you know what? This is what the Lord called us to do, and this is what we're supposed to do. And so we try to hold that very carefully. We're very conscious of that. We're terrified of being disobedient because we don't want to do that. We want to see God show up and be the focus of the evening. And so and I'll say this to you every night. Every year we sit down, and we look at the schedule, and we say, okay, we're going to take an offering. But the offering cannot take more time than the gospel presentation. They're just backwards. That should not be that, because all those little things are little indicators about your heart. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So here's 10 minutes to take the offering. And then we're going to go to the next thing, but we're going to give the speaker 15 minutes or 20 minutes to share the gospel and to give people the time to respond. And we shut down all the merchandise areas. We shut all that down so that there's no distractions, minimal distractions. And we put all the focus on the message of the gospel, because that's the heartbeat of our songs anyway. And a lot of these artists, they may say, hey, I love talking about testifying in my music and stuff about, I like singing songs that matter, and I like being a part of the Christian music community. And some of them have never given an invitation in their lives. They don't know how to share the gospel and give people the opportunity to respond to it. So we even try to train them to do that in their concerts. When they come out on Winter Jam, we go, hey, we want to give you the tools to take 5 minutes in your night and just, share the gospel and tell people how to be saved. And a lot of artists have really responded to that. Well, a lot of them are, we look at them and go, why don't they share the gospel? Well, they're terrified, honestly. And so, to be honest, they're very comfortable talking between songs and singing their songs. But that the speaking part of it, did you know, statistically, people would rather bungee jump than speak publicly?
Yes.
But that's the one thing that people fear the most
Yeah.
here repeatedly is public speaking. You're standing on a platform and speaking. And that music and talking about the song and all that stuff a very comfortable place. But when you take the message of the gospel that is eternal, that's the most important message on the planet, and you're responsible for that. It can be terrifying if you feel unprepared, right? So
Mhm.
we just go, hey, the gospel, you want to find out from being on this tour, the gospel central to us. Our speaker and our tour pastor are great at sharing the gospel. They have a heart for evangelism. They can help you learn how to do it and shape it to do it in your concert every night, and it's a worthwhile endeavor because you never know what the Lord is going to do, right? You never know what God's going to do. And if we just put it out there, it's not our job to save them anyway. We're not the Holy Spirit, right?
Right.
Not our. We can't convict them, clean them, save them, disciple them, or keep them. We can't do any of that. But we can tell people what the Lord's done for us and tell them how we became a Christian, and then let God do what He does in their hearts, and pray that He does something great in their hearts. And you know what? When that happens, that's extraordinary because we're all the flavor of the day for a minute, and then somebody new and it's a little more sparkly than us shows up, and people go, oh, I loved you guys, but I like this. And so there's this thing is always turning over, but there's always room for ministry. And so if your heartbeat is to be a ministry, and that's what drives your artistry, and that's what drives your machine, then God always makes room for that. That's why a band like NewSong started in 1981. Here we are, all these years later.
Crazy, man. Man, you guys are coming to Fort Wayne on February 6th, Indianapolis, February 7th. I'm going to be at the Fort Wayne show because the 7th in Indy is my daughter's birthday, and I've been told I want to be home
That
for that, and I do not need to be at a concert on her birthday. So I will be in Fort Wayne on February 6th. I cannot wait. Man, thank you for continuing to do this tour and continuing to do what you do. I am so glad I got to sit down with you again. I cannot wait for Winter Jam again. Good luck on the tour, man, in February. Stay safe on the Christmas tour. We'll see you on Winter Jam, man.
all right, brother. God bless you, man. Look forward to seeing you.